This is Bobby Loving. This is one of my coworkers, Greg Blanton. He's been doing this for a really long time. Sometimes they say that the dirt's been doing it longer, but I question that myself. We're going to do a conversation. We have to ask him what he feels is the greatest crisis that he's seen in the EMS over the last 15 years. And he's a very knowledgeable man, and he has a lot of good information. We've been talking about this. So, Mr. Blanton, what do you feel is the greatest crisis?
Most recently, I believe it's been the drug shortage. This country, with all its resources, seems to be having trouble making some of our drugs that we need critically. Epinephrine and EpiPens and our D50 and our diabetic drugs. They're pushing the cost up to where people can't afford to get them.
So do you feel that the big pharmacy, the big farms that they call it, is the driving force behind this, the money to be made, or do you feel like this is just a legitimate logistics problem?
No, I think it's pharmaceutical companies. I don't know that. I have no facts, but that's just how I feel. Seems like this country, we can do almost anything, but we can't make enough drugs to take care of our people. You can ship anything anywhere in this country overnight. Why would you have trouble getting drugs across the country when you needed them?
Do you feel like the fact that we send a lot of medicine that we produce and things to other countries, and then we're at a shortage, is that something that you feel we should probably address, or do you think that we have an obligation to help other countries?
I think we should come first. I do believe we have an obligation to help some of them third world countries, but I think we ought to pay more attention to our consumers, our people, patients.
So we kind of segue into the epidemic that's going on right now when we talk about the Narcan and the overdoses of drugs and stuff. And going back to what you said, you can get a Narcan intranasal delivery system for $12 at Walgreens, but it's costing the people that need epi to stay alive with the allergic reactions $400. Do you feel like that's a problem that we're going to have in the future? Has this been a problem that you've seen as far as the epidemic of opiates in the past?
I believe it's going to get worse for the sheer fact that the companies can make more money billing your insurance and charging them an exorbitant rate and get away with it, where you can find not so maybe medical ways to get over-the-counter drugs maybe, and which is a lot cheaper, but nobody makes any money at that.
We kind of talked a little bit, and you also thought that the Medicare-Medicaid system is a problem that you've seen over the years, and that actually a really good segue into the fact that, do you feel like Medicare-Medicaid is helping or hurting the pharmaceuticals that we're talking about right now as far as
I believe
pricing?
It's hurting for the sheer fact that they know Medicare and Medicaid will pay for it, so they just keep brackets. Basically, the insurance thing, they'll pay more because they know you have to have it if you have Medicaid, Medicare. They're driving the cost up for this insurance. Then we have the Medicaid, Medicare fraud, abuse, however you want to put it, of people needing it, don't have it, and don't need it. So I think it's all intertwined.
I think that if you really kind of dug down into the core of it all, it would probably be all intertwined, just like you said. I think that's a really excellent point. Is there a provider or a medical crisis that you've seen? The crisis of airway management is always in there. The crisis of 24-hour versus 12 sleep deprivation has become prevalent here. Has the sleep deprivation always been something that you've seen?
Yeah, it affects me. I've gotten older. I'm in my early 50s. Worked 24-hour shifts for 10, 12 years. The sleep deprivation got too much that I couldn't, it was making me ill, so I went to 12-hour shifts, and things are better for me.
Have you, as you've mentored a lot of us, I know you did me and you've had a conversation with me, but as you mentor people, is this something that you feel is important to tell them, to let them know that how dangerous these shifts can be?
Oh, yes. I believe it, yes. I didn't realize it till I started getting sick with the high blood pressure and diabetes and everything. I almost think 24-hour shifts is too much.
I mean, there's a lot of literature right now. I just did a paper on it, and it's always been my opinion that we shouldn't do 24s. We should do 12s and just rotate.
Well, no other line of work lets you work 24 hours in a row. The government has spent millions on truck drivers to keep them driving just 8 hours a day. Everybody else is restricted to 8 to 10 hours a day. And the only service that demands you work 24 hours is emergency services.
And some of those services, especially the flight services, seem to, and some of the bigger EMS agencies, they're working 48, 72s, stuff like that. And then
I don't believe their pilots are. I think they are governed by the FAA, so they're a lot stricter. But there's really no governing body that takes care of actual hours an EMS works.
do you feel, as you just on a personal level, feel like there was a point or an hour point that you could think of where you just kind of hit a wall and declined? Was it 8 hours where your judgment started getting impaired? Or, I mean, it's not unheard of here that some of you guys that worked your 24s could literally not sleep for 24 hours. Is that correct?
Yes. I've been up 36 to 40 hours straight before. I'm still working. I think anything over 12 hours is impaired.
Is this crisis new, or is it just because we have increased media coverage?
It's not new. It's been going on forever, since I've been in the business. It was unheard of almost for anybody to work anything but 24-hour shifts 15 years ago.
Do you feel that the older senior medics that have been doing this for 15, 20, 25 years kind of wear it as a badge of honor to be able to stay up 24 hours and work? Like you don't want any kind of relief or someone coming in for you because that makes you weak? Is that something you feel is accurate?
Yeah, at a certain point you do, in stage of your career. But then it just becomes a point where you don't care anymore. You've got to do what's right for you and your body. So going to 12 hours is what helped me. So
if I said that to be able to take care of the patient, you got to take care of yourself first, you would agree with that?
Yes.
Which we're ultimately taught in paramedic school to begin with.
Yes.
We kind of forget about it. All right. Well, this is Mr. Greg Blanton. I'm Bobby Loving, and this is the end of our word on the street.